this video, we are going to look at a Band 9 essay written by a former IELTS examiner from Australia. For more videos like this one, visit my blog at IELTS.com. And if you like my work and you would like to say thank you, please leave a like on this video. So today's essay is in response to this question. Many people think that public celebrations, like national holidays, festivals, etc., are a waste of money and that the government should spend these funds in a better way. Do you agree or disagree? Give reasons for your answer and examples from personal experience where appropriate. So this question was seen this month, so that's June of 2017 in Canada. It's a straightforward agree or disagree type question. So the approach that you will see in this example response is a very consistent effort throughout the essay to support the writer's opinion, which is declared in the introduction paragraph. After we read through the essay, I want to go back and look at it from three different perspectives. And I see this as sort of like putting on X-ray glasses to highlight the parts of the essay that are relevant to these perspectives. Okay, and you'll see what I mean in a moment. So firstly, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the parts of the essay that create cohesion in the writing. Secondly, we're going to look at the parts of the essay that effectively offer concession. And thirdly, we're going to look at the specific parts of the essay that anchor it to the question. And you'll see that these different perspectives do mildly overlap with each other a little bit. Okay, so as I do this initial read of the essay, you might be interested to try to look for these items. Okay, so this Band 9 example essay reads, "National holidays cost countries and their governments a lot of money. Wages need to be paid to employees despite their absence from work, and a national loss in productivity is experienced. For these reasons, some people suggest governments do away with holidays and instead spend the money on worthy projects. While this might seem at first to be a practical suggestion, I disagree strongly for a number of reasons. Firstly, it is axiomatic that a country's production of goods declines when workers are not working. However, this is a tiny part of a much larger economic picture. Productivity is a function not only of hours worked, but also of energy, drive, and morale. Thus, national holidays, which give workers a chance to relax and to celebrate aspects of their country and their lives, make for a happier and more productive workforce. In Australia, for example, the long weekend is a tradition that helps to unify society by making all feel rewarded and valued in a common enterprise and identity. It is for these reasons that labeling public celebrations a waste of money cannot be supported. Further, having the financial means to start new national projects is a good thing, but the question of apportioning funds in a manner that an entire society agrees is a better way is simply unrealistic. A further consideration is the ramifications of pressure put on workers to work 52 straight weeks a year, a policy that could lead to stress-related illnesses and serious social problems. As this shows, the cancelling of public holidays and redirection of funds is an implausible suggestion. In conclusion, I must affirm that while it is tempting to realize the short-term increase in productivity and savings that would result from abolishing public holidays, the overall cost greatly outweighs the gains. Okay, so a very straightforward 4-paragraph essay that addresses all parts of the question. Now, like I was saying, I want to look at this through 3 very specific lenses. So the first thing I want to talk about is how this essay creates cohesion between it. Okay, so now if we put on our X-ray glasses and have a look at the essay again. Now, what I've done here is highlighted the specific wording that actually does link to other areas, brought up earlier or to be brought up later in the essay. Okay, so let's just read through the essay again, and then I'll just I'll just explain why I've highlighted these different areas and why they create cohesion. So national holidays cost countries and their governments a lot of money. Wages need to be paid to employees despite their absence from work, and a national loss in productivity is experienced. For these reasons, so an obvious link back to the reasons brought up in the first two sentences, some people suggest governments do away with holidays and instead spend money on worthy projects. While this might seem at first to be a practical suggestion, I disagree for a number of reasons. So, of course, this is queuing up the reader to expect these reasons to be shared in the coming paragraphs. Firstly, okay, so obviously declaring that this is the first of a series of supporting points. It is axiomatic that a country's production of goods declines when workers are not working. However, so to indicate that we're switching gears and going to show something that perhaps slightly counters what's just been said, this, with reference to the point brought up in the first sentence, is a tiny part of a much larger economic picture. Productivity is a function not only of hours worked, but also of energy, drive, and morale. Thus, another transition word that's showing us here that we're moving towards a logical conclusion that's being based upon evidence brought up earlier in the paragraph. National holidays, which give workers a chance to relax and celebrate aspects of their country and their lives, make for a happier and more productive workforce. In Australia, for example, the long weekend is a tradition that helps to unify society by making all feel rewarded and valued in a common enterprise and identity. It is for these reasons that labeling public celebrations a waste of money cannot be supported. Okay, so all of these helping to link back. Now, what you've probably noticed is that every single sentence includes some sort of language that links to the ideas or links to other ideas in other sentences. Okay, maybe ideas that came prior or ideas to come later, as is the case here with the for a number of reasons up in the introduction paragraph. And then that continues through the rest of the essay as well. So as we go to the second supporting paragraph, the writer starts it with further. Having the financial means to start new national projects, is a good thing. But, once again, transition, this question of apportioning funds in a manner that an entire society agrees is, quote unquote, a better way, is simply unrealistic. A further consideration is the ramifications of pressure put on workers to work 52 straight weeks a year, a policy that could lead to stress-related illnesses and serious social problems. As this shows, again, leading us to a logical conclusion based on evidence brought up earlier, the canceling of public holidays and redirection of funds is an implausible suggestion. In conclusion, I must affirm that while it is tempting to realize the short-term increase in productivity and savings that would result from abolishing public holidays, the overall cost greatly outweighs the gains. All right, so lots of linking language in there that helps all the ideas work together. It helps, lead the reader through a very logical progression to the thought processes that are going on here. So these are the areas, the specific areas where cohesion is created. Now, the second lens I want to look at is concession. Firstly, concession is when some merit is granted to an opposing point of view. So in the introduction paragraph, the writer says very clearly that they disagree. Not only do they disagree strongly, okay, for a number of reasons. However, there are certain points in this essay that you might have noticed where the writer does indicate that there is some truth or some merit to the opposing point of view. But see, the nature of concession is it's something that has to be handled very delicately, because if you make a mistake with your wording, you can end up countering your own position, which really is a huge mistake in your IELTS, because it makes you look like you're arguing against yourself. It will confuse the examiner. They won't know, what side you're supporting. Actually, that's the title of a chapter in my ebook, The Delicate Nature of Concession. So let's look at the different areas where this writer does offer concession, okay, and then let's look at how the examiner ensures that the concession remains concession and doesn't accidentally argue against the central position of the essay. So firstly, national holidays cost countries and their governments a lot of money. wages need to be paid to employees despite their absence from work, and a national loss in productivity is experienced. So if you remember, the essay says that many people do think that national or public celebrations are a waste of money. So in these first two sentences, the writer is saying, yes, that's true, actually. I mean, not that it's a waste of money, but that public holidays do cost a lot of money. There's no arguing against that. They actually do cost a lot of money. That is indeed true. So in the second part of the introduction paragraph, you see, for these reasons, some people suggest governments do away with holidays and instead spend money on worthy projects. Now, the writer offers a bit of concession when they say, while this might seem at first to be a practical suggestion, okay, so the examiner is saying that, indeed this does look like it would be a worthy thing to do, okay, but then they counter that very clearly when they say, I disagree strongly for a number of reasons. So, like I was saying, you have to be careful, because if this were worded something like, this is a practical suggestion, full stop, I disagree strongly for a number of reasons, that's not accurate demonstration of concession, because you're kind of saying two points that are incompatible, or they kind of argue against each other, and then that just confuses your reader. All right. Now, the way that the writer here has framed this with while and then a comma and then stating their own opinion, which is a clear counter, it's very clear that we're kind of encapsulating this, as a point of concession. Okay, and there are other points in the essay that also offer concessions. So, for example, if we look at the first sentences in each of the supporting paragraphs, so here we have, firstly, it is axiomatic that a country's production of goods declines when workers are not working. And then this is, followed with however. So the writer is saying that, yes, indeed, it's true that a country's production of goods will decline when people are on holiday. That's true. But, very clearly here, however, this is a tiny part of a much larger economic picture. Okay, so very quickly, the writer is sort of dismissing this point and saying that although this is true, this is not really an accurate depiction of the whole picture or the whole situation, right? So even when we get to the second sentence, we're clear on what the writer's position is. And then the same is true when we get to this second supporting paragraph, which reads, further, having the financial means to start new national projects is a good thing. But, so you see, it's very key, these transitions here, because this, makes sure that the reader is following exactly, what the writer is saying. So, but the question of apportioning funds in a manner that an entire society agrees is a better way is simply unrealistic. So once again, this second half of the sentence is discrediting or, framing the first part of the sentence as just an area of concession. Okay, so so I think that these little areas are very good demonstrations of how to deliver concession without having it, fall out of control and losing the direction for your argument essay. Now let's look at the third perspective, which are the particular areas in the essay where the response is anchored directly to the essay question. Now, all parts of the essay, of course, in some way reflect upon the essay question, but there are a couple of very specific points when the writer of this piece links the response directly to what the essay is, or what the question is asking. All right? So if we look at the introduction paragraph, so we kind of get through the preamble, the bits of concession like I was pointing out, but very, very clearly at the end of the introduction paragraph, the writer says, I disagree strongly for a number of reasons. So when you read through this first paragraph, you immediately know where the writer stands with regards to what the question is asking. Okay, there is no question in your mind what the writer is saying or where their position is, with regards to do you agree or disagree. And that's very important. Now, if we look further, each of the supporting paragraphs have a final thought that link back to the essay question. And you see this in the model essays that I write as well. And this is very important because, once again, it just helps to solidify or to anchor the entire supporting idea, this entire paragraph, this entire supporting paragraph, back to what the essay question is asking. So there's no confusion in the examiner's mind when they read this. How does this supporting paragraph link to the question? So the last sentence in the first supporting paragraph reads, "It is for these reasons that labeling public celebrations a waste of money cannot be supported." All right, so the writer here is stating that basically what I want you to take away from this supporting paragraph is that we cannot label public celebrations as a waste of money, and I've shown that in this supporting paragraph. The second supporting paragraph finishes with, "As this shows, the canceling of public holidays and redirection of funds is an implausible suggestion." So once again, just sort of summarizing what was brought up in the second supporting paragraph and telling the reader exactly how this is relevant to the essay question. Okay, so there's no question in the examiner's mind when they read this. Then finally, pretty much the entire conclusion paragraph offers, some anchoring to the question. "I must affirm that while it is tempting to realize the short-term increase in productivity and savings that would result from abolishing public holidays, the overall cost greatly outweighs the gains." And actually, this right here is once again somewhat of an offer of concession, but the final thought that really anchors or pulls everything home is this: the overall cost greatly outweighs the gains. So it's very clear that the examiner is linking this entire thought, and they're restating their thesis in different words here, that they fundamentally do not agree with what was stated in the essay question. Okay, so that's the end of today's lesson. I hope that that was helpful and helped you, have a look at some of the language that is used to do these different things, to offer, to create cohesion, to offer concession, and to fulfill specific components of the essay question. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you next video.
I'm sure we'll get along splendidly. Oh, sorry, I don't mean to embarrass you, but I'm a rather brilliant surgeon. Perhaps I could help you with that hump.
What hump?
Let's go.